Hi everyone. This is kind of a key lesson for this course since we're culminating with the argumentative essay, a lot of the skills that we've learned. So I wanted to go over each of these point by point with you. So when you're writing a successful argument essay, there's about 12 steps. It's a 12-step program. So in order to compose a successful argumentative essay, you need to choose your issue wisely. It needs to be narrow, not too narrow, but narrow enough that you can cover it in a 7 to 8 page paper. It also needs to be interesting to a number of people. So you don't want to choose something that's too big, like abortion or capital punishment, but you can tackle, another smaller issue. So it could be something like rooftop agriculture, or a good way to end food insecurity, or something like that, something smaller. Next, you've already started your research, but you want to research the issue more. And be sure to take good notes. Also, you may consider coming up with a good number of key terms. So make sure that you're well informed. Make sure that you've researched both sides or all sides of the issue, since these are controversial issues. There's going to be multiple perspectives. Then you'll want to figure out your position very particularly on the issue. So it's probably not just a for or against position. It's probably somewhere in between, and you do need to make sure that you clearly state your issue. You want to make sure that the information that you found is reputable, that your sources are academic sources or things that are published by professionals and experts in the field. Then, after you've done all that, be sure that you formulate your own strong thesis. Remember, thesis statements are 1 to 2 sentences long, and they clearly articulate the main point that you're making in your essay. This point should be concise, it should be clear, it should be unique. And there is also a difference between thesis and methodology. Methodology tells me how you are going to do something. I will research, I will look at it, something like that. Thesis statements tell me what you think, right? So they're not statements of method. Methodology is important when you're writing scientific papers because you're doing experiments that people need to replicate. So they need to understand how you did what you did. Thesis statements are what you think. It doesn't matter how you came to the conclusion, you're going to explain that later, but you do want to clearly, specifically state what you think. Next, you need to decide on your strongest supporting points. So, what are the major reasons that help you to think the way that you do? If you want to insert an essay map into your thesis, you can do so, but it should add no more than a sentence. In your argument, you also want to be sure to address plausible counterarguments and rebut them. So, a good way to approach this is to think about if somebody were to object to your argument, what would they say? What would be the strongest, most common objections? And how would you refute that? What do you say to the people who object? Then you want to draft your essay. So this is where you kind of put your outline together, start smoothing it out, start developing, start inserting quotations, and all of that good stuff. And then you get to the major portion of the writing, which is the revision. So once you've got everything kind of in place, go back, make sure that it sounds good, and then submit for peer review. Get somebody else to look at your paper, look at somebody else's paper, take recommendations, those sorts of things. And then finally, finalize your paper. Make sure that your paper is formatted properly, all the citations are correct, and that it's ready for submission. And then submit it.